Um, Yesterday I was reading, I'm still going through the book of Exodus. Um, and now I'm in Exodus 17, and there's a part, um, where, Exodus 17 and 8 talks about Israel defeats the Amalekites. I hope that's how you pronounce the name. The Amalekites, and, it just talked about, how Israel was attacked by them, and, how it says that meanwhile, while the Israelites were fighting them, Moses, Aaron, and Hur, they climbed up to the top of a nearby hill. And as long as Moses held up the staff in his hand, the Israelite had the advantage. Um, but then it said, but whenever he dropped his hand, the Amalekites gained the advantage. And so, this just made me think. So I was just talking to one of my friends on the phone, and I was just letting her know that, like, I've had the confidence to move forward. I've had the confidence to kind of um go on. Like when I read my word, or God gives me something to encourage me for the day, He helps me to get through the day. And I'm just so thankful for that, and it gives me what I need to get through this, when it came to my finances for yesterday, I thank God because even though, my paycheck was short, it was enough to cover what needed to be covered. And I thank Him, and I'm beginning to just, after, reading about the man of bread from heaven, just be thankful for today, and still keep that faith and that hope and just that trust and that confidence to know that God is going to be, He's going to provide for me for tomorrow, and it's like if I'm in my word, if I'm reading, if I'm having certain conversations, it's like it's enough to keep me going. And I'm thankful for that. I'm very thankful for that. And so when it said that as long as Moses held up the staff in his hand, the Israelites had the advantage. And that just lets me know, if you have the tools that God gave you, if you keep Him first, if you keep it up, then it helps you. It helps you to get through the war that you're whatever it is that you're battling, whatever it is that you're in war with. But, it talked about how Moses' arms was getting tired. And I can honestly say to you that I was probably, no, not probably. I was feeling that way last night. Last night I was feeling drained. Like, was I thankful to God for making my finances? Absolutely. This has been a long journey. This has been just a long process that I've been going through with this whole, work situation. It wasn't even my intentions to have a series, to be very honest with you. When I started the first message talking about the book of Esther, I mean, by like maybe the eighth chapter of Esther, it was over. It was like, it was kind of over. You know, um, the king saw what he saw, about Mordecai, and, he had, Haman, parade Mordecai around, and then the truth came out, and then Haman was impaled on the same pole that he had set up for Mordecai to, be impaled on himself. And it was like, okay, and then it was over. So really, I'm looking at my situation like, Lord, I'm, come on now, God, like, okay, I'm waiting for this to be over. And then God has brought me through so many different stories, in it. And I'm like, okay, well, okay, God, well, this should be over, like just something like, okay, God, come on now, this should be over. I don't see anything happening. Not only do I not see anything happening, I'm starting to feel like everything that I go to do at work, they are being able to hold it against me, and I'll be very honest with you, last night I had to go by the job. I didn't go into the job. Somebody met me downstairs and I had to go by my job and give in this paperwork because, the doctor still has me out. And I just began to feel sick. And, I felt anxious because I told you that I've been dealing with a lot of anxiety in this. And I'm not going to lie, like in my mind, it just made me feel in that moment like a little, I'm not going to say defeated, but I just began to let my mind wonder about how is this going to turn out? Am I going to be like this? Is like I just began to get weak, I guess, and then I was by myself, and my thoughts for the most part, I shared a little bit of it with my husband, but for the most part, I was by myself in my thoughts, and I'm like, Lord, this is a lot. And so, I didn't record yesterday, but I read it again today, and maybe I believe that sometimes um, it's a reason. This stuff has to come alive for me, and maybe yesterday morning it wasn't alive, but by yesterday afternoon it became alive because it says Moses' arms became so tired that he could no longer hold them up, right? And so remember, it's saying that he had to hold up the staff in his hand because as long as he was holding up the staff in his hand, then, the Israelites would win. And that's the way that I feel like I'm starting to feel like my arms are getting tired, like my arms are getting tired. Like I know that in order for me to win, and I'm not talking about what I see, but just winning the victory of knowing that, if God be for me, who could be against me? Just knowing that, I've already won, just knowing that I will be vindicated, knowing that I'm going to come out higher than this, just knowing what I know that I know that I know. But it's like, after a while, when you're in something for a long time, you just begin to get tired. You just begin to get tired, and that's what it appears was happening now. Moses, he just became so tired that he could no longer hold them up. And so Aaron and Hur, they found a stone for him to sit on, and they allowed him to rest for a moment, and then they stood on each side of him and they held up his hands, and so his hands was able to be steady until sunset. And because of that, it says that Joshua overwhelmed the army of Amalek in the Bible, and excuse me, in the battle. And I really have to stop for a moment and just say, I'm so thankful to God for my friends, because my friends have stood side by side. They have given me what I've needed to allow me the opportunity to rest. I mean, there's so many people that have been in support of me, and it's not really just my friends. It's not really just, the people that's closest to me that's in my circle. Um, it has been, um, the lady at the union one day, calling me and just sharing some stuff with me that she had experienced, to let me know in that moment, no, no, you're not crazy. This is definitely the agenda of the people that you're dealing with, because I've been through it. It was definitely my therapist, it's been my doctors, it's been just different people who've been able to just share something with me, just to confirm to me that, it's okay. Those are the things that has been holding me up, it has. And so I just wanted to stop for a moment and just talk about, well, just give thanks, to my friends, just to the people who were willing to just be obedient, and to just, and that obedience is not anything big, it's not anything grand, it really just might be the thing to say, I haven't spoken to this person in a long time, and let me call and see how they're doing, that kind of obedience. Or it really could be a thing of, I don't know why I'm about to tell you this, but let me share a bit of my story with you. That kind of obedience, to just go ahead and do it. It has been the people who have, pulled out the scriptures, gotten deep into the word with me, have prayed for me. It's so much that goes into, just you being obedient, because at the end of the day, we could just be sinful. We could be selfish. We could just not worry about what somebody else have going on. I mean, at this point, I have been dealing with this work situation since September 13th, and today I believe it's like January 25th or something like that. And to call somebody, almost every day from September to January, or, every week or however long, and just to be going through the same thing. Somebody could easily say, girl, listen, I got my own problems, go ahead and quit, go ahead and do something. But I'm thanking God because that's not it. I'm thanking God because obviously, you know, it's something inside of them that's saying, no, I got to help hold her hands up. In order for her to win this battle, I have to hold her hands up. And one of the things that I really, really love is that, Moses wasn't even in the physical fight of it. He wasn't in the physical fight. And I wonder how even that plays out because, I was talking to one of my friends earlier, and I was saying that I don't even know what this is for. I really don't. I mean, at this point, I honestly don't know what this is for. Like, why am I even in the place that I am in right now? Because everything has been going fine. I mean, I've been at my job for 12 years. I've never had a write-up. I've never had an incident. I just asked to be transferred. The policy says that if you work somewhere for 2 years, you could ask for a transfer. I've been there for 5. And it was like, Lord, you could have just transferred me, even if I wasn't to get the promotion, that's fine, but you could have just transferred me. People get transferred all the time, and I just don't understand why God, release me. All I was asking God, release me, release me, release me. And now, since I'm not at work, obviously, people say be careful what you ask for. But, I was asking just to be released from under these individuals to another workplace. And it's like, I don't really understand why I'm going through all of this. All I wanted was just a transfer, just to go to work and work the next 8 years until I retire, and that's it. And it's like, God, I'm not understanding. And now I'm thinking about, people have said, well, it's not for you. This is not just for you. God got a plan for you, or this is for somebody else. And I'll be honest with you, I can't see it because other people seem to be in a better position than I am right now. So I can't really see who else this is for. I honestly can't, but I'm looking at it like, okay, well, I identify with Moses, and I understand that Moses' arms were getting tired. And now it's like it's dawning on me that, yeah, but the fight really wasn't with Moses. It wasn't, he was not doing the physical fighting. It's just that he was equipped to hold up what it is that they needed in order to win this battle. So I'm saying all of that, and I know you hear me say a lot of times that I don't know because I really don't know, or that God is doing in this situation. I don't know who it's for or not for. Right now, it feels like it's me. I feel like I'm in a battle. I feel like I'm the one that's fighting the front lines, and I'm the one that's holding up. But it makes me wonder, like, if I have to really kind of look just a little deeper into the scripture, it almost makes me wonder, even though it's getting tough for me, and even though I feel like I'm in a fight and it's getting hard for me to hold up, you know, and I'm thanking God for the people around me to kind of keep me up and keep me afloat and stand beside me and give me that encouragement that I need in the moment to just keep holding up. That really, I'm not even in the battle. And that I'm struggling with that. I'm struggling with that because I feel like I am. And especially because I don't see anybody else. I don't see anybody else present. I only see myself, But yet and still, it's like, I don't know. I just don't know. I'm even looking, like as I'm reading this, I'm like looking just to see, like, well, God, how did this all start? Like, I mean, how did this start? Like, who are these other people? Like, I don't know. All I know is that they came out to fight the army of Amalek, and then Moses said to Joshua, tomorrow I will stand at the top of the hill holding the staff of God at my hand. And so Joshua did what Moses had commanded and fought the army of Amalek. Okay. Meanwhile, Moses, Aaron, and Hur climbed to the top of a nearby hill. As long as Moses held up the staff in his hand, the Israelites had the advantage. But whenever he dropped his hand, the Amalekites gained the advantage. Moses' arms soon became so tired he could no longer hold them up. So Aaron and Hur found a stone for him to sit on. Then they stood on each side of Moses, holding up his hands. So his hands held steady until sunset. As a result, Joshua overwhelmed the army of the Amalek in battle. I'm stopping because I really, when I do these messages, usually something has kind of deposited in my spirit to um, make it all clear to me. This is not all clear to me in this moment. I guess the one thing that is clear was just that people get weak. Moses got weak just because you believe that you have the answer in your hand. You have the sword of God. You have your word. Um, Even if He prepares a place for you, to stand on while you carry out what God wants you to do, you just get tired. You really do, and I'll be honest with you, I'm really tired. I'm really tired of going through this. I'm really tired of not knowing um what it's about or how it's going to turn out. I'm really tired of carrying this. This is heavy for me, but I'm thankful because I've had just the greatest people to hold my hands up, and maybe that's all that I am to get from it, but I just can't stop but to realize that he wasn't even in the real fight. I mean, he had a big part of it, and his part was important because that's the way for Joshua to defeat them. But I don't know. But I'm just going to move forward in that and just, it says, starting in verse 14, that after the victory, the Lord instructed Moses, write this down on a scroll as a permanent reminder and read it aloud to Joshua. I will erase the memory of Amalek from under heaven. So Moses built an altar there, and he named it, in this version, it says Yahweh Nisi. In the King James, Jehovah Nisi, which is what I've always heard, Jehovah Nisi, which means the Lord is my banner. And he said that they have raised their fist against the Lord's throne, so now the Lord will be at war with the Amalek generation after generation. I don't know. To be honest with you, I know that there's more of a concrete message in most of the videos. I mean, well, most of the audios that I have recorded, but this one, I really don't have one. So I'm just gonna leave it at that and just pick it up later.